did Romario Ibarra
Right.
and Mason Toy. Each scored 2 goals.
Nice.
And then just to round it out, they're a player that they have on trial, Hiro, he scored 3 times actually. So.
Yeah, Hiro Bariga Toyama. He's from Japan.
Japanese.
He's played for Florida Gulf Coast University.
Okay.
Yeah, he had 3 goals in that. Looked like he played most of the game, if not all of it. So they must have some interest in him.
So this is one of the couple guys that they're kind of looking into during this kind of pre-exhibition period.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't really know what position he plays. All I know is it's midfield, which, I mean, if he had 3 goals, must be kind of maybe a 10. I don't know. Yeah.
You got to kind of ask if you're a hero. You got to kind of ask yourself, well, what do you got to do to get signed? Other than score 3 goals. We'll see how the rest, the next month goes. Who knows?
Yeah.
We might be talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we have another guy that we're kind of looking into, the goalkeeper.
Yeah, so Vitala, I think his first name was Webster. I didn't put it down.
Webster?
Yeah.
Great show, by the way.
He's Finnish.
He's Finnish?
Finnish.
And his first name's Webster?
Yes.
All I think when I hear Webster is Emmanuel Lewis. Sorry. My bad.
He's 27, so he's not terribly old. His last club was Malmo FF, which is a very good club in Finland.
Okay.
He's bounced around the Finnish league quite a bit. For whatever reason, he's out of contract. I wanted to look into his numbers because, as we mentioned before the break, we were clearly looking for a starting goalkeeper.
Yes.
So I have a feeling this guy could be doing something because he's played roughly 15,000 minutes in his career.
Okay.
He's given up a goal 90 of 1.14, which, by the way, is insanely low.
Yeah, very low.
He's had 61 clean sheets.
Wow.
And he's only had 10 yellow cards in 15,000 minutes as a goalie. I'm actually pretty impressed with that.
But as a goalie, you only get a yellow card, if you hold the ball too long?
Well, you could give up a PK.
Yeah.
Or hand the ball outside of the box.
Yeah, I suppose.
Just to compare, obviously I'm just spouting stats, to compare to Bobby. His goal 90 for Minnesota was 1.96.
Wow.
So, we're almost talking a goal a game.
Wow.
Difference.
Wow.
That's pretty incredible.
But you're also talking about the Finnish league, though.
True. His career is 1.59.
Okay.
So maybe that says something about Minnesota.
My biggest question I have for you, Sterling, though, is can this guy distribute the ball better than Bobby can?
Well, you don't have those stats. That's the problem.
Do we have any video evidence that he can throw the ball better than Bobby can?
I saw some video, sure.
Does he actually get the ball away from the goal?
Well, Bobby could do that too.
But he doesn't do it.
Well,
and if he does,
it just goes to the wrong team.
And he does it to the wrong team.
There isn't a lot on Vitala, unfortunately. Statistically speaking, he's done better than Bobby in more minutes.
Okay.
In fewer minutes.
But would you put the Finnish league... How would you compare them to MLS, though? Are we talking like a league lower than MLS, the Finnish league?
I would say they're half a step below.
Okay.
It's hard to say.
Because we're talking about Finland here. Finland's not known as a soccer capital.
The Scandinavian teams are really hard to judge because they're not known for soccer necessarily. So, Malmo itself has had plenty of opportunities in Europa and such. So,
they're hockey players up there in Scandinavia. They're hockey players.
I would say they're pretty similar to MLS.
But I can understand why he'd want to come here because the climate is kind of like Finland here.
Now, did you say what club did you say he came from? Malmo.
Malmo.
So I know of a Malmo, Sweden. We don't need to get into that, but there must be another Malmo in Finland.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But maybe it's the Swedish league.
Maybe I miss. Oh, you know what?
I don't want to put you on the spot. I just had.
No, you're right because I got the flags mixed up.
Oh, he's Swedish?
Well, no, he's Finnish.
He's Finnish, yeah.
But the flags of the leagues, the Swedish flag is a blue with yellow cross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's in the Swedish league.
Swedish league.
But still.
Again,
Thank you for correcting.
I didn't want our Twitter blown up afterwards.
Yes.
But, I have heard of a Malmo, Sweden. And it's...
Those Swedes get pissed off.
Have not been there yet. But what I've heard, it's a wonderful town.
He must be married.
And
What?
Because you wouldn't leave Sweden with Swedish women to come to Minnesota.
But what I was saying, though, is if you wanted to leave Scandinavia, and you wanted the same climate as Sweden or Finland, Minnesota's your best bet.
Who wants the same climate as Sweden?
Plus, we have a lot of Swedes here and a lot of Finns.
I'd say depending on where you are in Sweden, the climate here is much colder. I think it's a little bit milder if you're near the ocean.
Yeah,
that's true. I suppose.
Yeah.
But still, we have a lot of Swedes and Finns here.
We do, and you actually coming
and Norwegians
full circle like to the game. And we talk about Vitalia. He actually both goalkeepers in Tuesday's game, was it Tuesday or Wednesday's game, were both goalkeepers were not under contract with United, with the Loons. The goalkeeper that was subbed in was McLeod. And unfortunately, don't have any stats on him as well. But that's what this is for.
And they gave up 2 goals. I'm not sure who gave them up.
I would say that Vitalia gave up 1 on 4 shots.
Okay.
I
know he gave up 1.
I heard one of the goals was the other team called a timeout, and they were just joking around, and then they shot the ball in the goal.
That wouldn't be shocking.
That's what I heard.
That would be par for Minnesota.
But let's not take it. Let's not hold us to it. I could be wrong on the shots on goal and the saves, but one thing we can say is their second preseason game is against their parent club, like you mentioned, the Phoenix Rising.
Yes.
That's actually streaming live on MNUFC.com.
Yep.
So we'll be able to check that out.
At
maybe
3:30 today.
At 3 o'clock today, yeah.
So actually, that'll be yesterday to anyone that listens to this.
Yeah.
So, I guess I can't promote that and tell people to go out and listen, but I will tell you that we will do our best to watch it and have a little bit more feedback.
And luckily, I tweeted out this morning that the game was today, so we've already promoted the game.
Yep.
And I do know that on the BGN network, there is a Phoenix Rising podcast.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm sure they'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's a quick hitter for you. Say we get back home in time to watch this match online. What would you be most looking forward to seeing? Or who, maybe?
Well, I want to see Hero again.
Okay. Yeah. Well, see if he can match what he did last time.
I mean, he looked pretty good. I think I've made it very clear I'm not a Bobby fan, so I would like to see Vital again.
I think
that's about all I really want to see.
For me, an exhibition, it's more about nobody getting injured.
Right.
It's more about getting some minutes, getting some playing time, getting those guys working together a little bit, figuring out what they do and what they don't do, and not getting injured, not making stupid plays.
Yep, exactly.
Keeping it very vanilla.
And seeing how the new faces that we talked about the first half of the podcast, how they're going to work together and play together. And
actually, I'd like to see green grass.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too. Yeah.
That's what I'm most excited for.
And we aren't going to take a huge deep dive into the first preseason match against Tucson, but when Adrian Heath, he described the formation that they played for most of the game as nearly a 4-3-3.
Okay.
And that said, basically that allowed them to kind of overload the middle of the field. And what's your take on that, David? I mean,
that's if you want to overload the midfield, you want to try to gain that advantage. The 4-3-3 is exactly what you want to do, because obviously you have 2 forwards who are actually midfielders. They're the wingers. You end up having. You could do a lot of stuff with that second tier midfield, where you're going to have your number 6 in the middle probably, but you can also switch him out for just an 8 like Gregus. You can make it very defensive. You can make it very offensive. The nice thing is you can change up those outside midfielders to be a little bit more winger-esque.
Sure.
So all of a sudden you have your first tier is a center forward, and 2 wingers, and your second tier maybe another winger, maybe 2 wingers. I mean, depending on how much faith you have in the middle guy. I mean, you don't lose, you have the standard 4-back line, right? So I think, Atlanta uses a 4-3-3. LAFC uses 4-3-3. I mean, if you have the players to do it, which, interestingly enough, we have the players to do a 4-3-3.
We do.
I mean, we have so many. 2017 we had like 20 wingers.
Yeah.
2018 we had none.
Yeah.
Now 2019 we have like 20 wingers.
Yeah, we do.
So, I mean, it'd be nice to see that 4-3-3 more often.
My question is, did Darwin play the last game?
In the preseason?
Yeah.
Honestly,
I don't think he did.
I don't
think he did.
know that he did.
I was trying to follow the
not-
subs on Twitter. I didn't see it.
He's not on the scoring record as far
Okay.
as goals or assists.
Which,
I can tell you that.
if he didn't, I would be very happy because that's the one guy I don't want to lose in the preseason.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's the one guy I think he can work. Darwin's the type of guy I think he can work with anybody. Just get him the ball, and even him with the ball, he can see things going on.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to play.
Yeah, I mean, the way
but-
that he fit in almost immediately into
Yeah,
the offense tells us we don't need to see a lot just to make sure he's healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, of course, you don't want to lose a player like Quintero in the preseason. But that being said, it's not like you have your star players in the NFL that they don't need to practice, and for some of them they really literally do not need to. However, with when we're talking about soccer here, I mean, you need to get up to game shape, so to speak.
Right.
But with Darwin, you'll get him in some games, but I don't want him like
Playing 50, 60 minutes.
Exactly right. I want him as healthy as possible going into next season because he's the key cog in all of this.
Right.
If he's not on the pitch, then we have issues.
Right.
Even with our new guys, he's the guy who kind of makes it all work together because he's that special.
Right. I agree.
So we got to have him.
Well, that's like those 4. I mean, whether we're talking about our defenders, the midfielder, the back line was improved, the midfielders have been improved over on paper compared to what the Loons had last year. But yeah, those are the players that are going to be feeding Quintero.
Yeah,
and Angelo Rodriguez as well.
But we saw this last year when Darwin was out a couple games. Remember, our offense did nothing when Darwin was out.
I want to bring that. I mean, we can talk about Darwin, and I mean, I just brought it up with Angelo Rodriguez, and it was Callan Williams brought up a good point, and he was talking about what he thought, the over-under basically for Angelo Rodriguez's goals scored this year. And because of the new acquisitions, I think he made a point of saying, well, I kind of had Angelo pegged at 6 or 7 goals, but, I think he recorded it this week, Callan Williams did. He actually raised that number of goals scored for Angelo Rodriguez over-under to be about, I think he said 8 or 9.
That's not surprising.
9 or 10 in that range. And
when you have Darwin, with Darwin helping him out, I think he can score a lot of goals.
Well, and I think a lot of the issue with our offense is our defense. So, I mean, one, you get a new goalkeeper that can distribute, that helps. But when your midfield doesn't have to worry about the defense, or I should say, your attacking midfield doesn't have to worry about the defense. When you have a legit number 6 in the formations that Heath likes to use, or you have a legit number 8 who can play box to box and help in the defense.
Yep.
And kind of turn the possession as it goes. Our attackers can focus on attacking.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So, I mean, I totally predict, in my opinion, Angelo Rodriguez should hit 12.
Yeah.
I think.
And that was my first thought when I heard his prediction. I thought, that sounds kind of low. And then I started thinking, well, the only reason it would be low, maybe, assuming everybody stays healthy, which is a wonderful assumption, but maybe the goals are just spread around. Because you have Quintero, you have Angelo Rodriguez, and then you have, I touched on it earlier, I'm sincerely hoping that our set piece, our corner kicks, they're going to improve, and you're going to get players coming off the back and scoring those goals, and you're